How often do you program high-skill, complex gymnastics movements that allow all ability levels to play? We've got a fun one for you today. We're talking about a headstand, forward roll, and a pistol all in one, and I'm going to show you how to do it for your most advanced athletes all the way to your most scaled athletes. The first component of this is the headstand. Kyle has a mat, gymnastics mat here, and I'm going to have him kind of target his head where his head's going to go. He's already got a nice sweat mark right there for him, so he knows that's where the very top of his head's going to go. We want the hands to be well behind that to form a nice triangle. That's going to provide him with an excellent base of support. So he'll put his hands down, then he'll put the top of his head on that target area. He's going to then lift his hips up into the air and very slowly walk his toes until he gets one knee on that elbow, finds a little stability. He's going to wiggle that other foot up there until his knee's here. For some of your athletes, that might be it, but if not, we want to slowly extend one leg up in the air, and if we can get that other leg all while trying to hold that balance. Excellent, you can come out of that, Kyle. You'd be surprised how many of your athletes will be able to do that headstand, so allow them to slowly work their knees up onto their elbows and see if they can get their legs straight. So the next component to this is the forward roll. And so we're going to have Kyle not get his feet totally up in the air. He's going to kind of get his elbows up onto his knees, kind of a partial headstand. And then what he's going to think about is as he's ready, he's going to push himself forward a little bit off of his hands to kind of get his momentum going forward. And at the same time, think about tucking that chin down to the chest so that as he rolls, we're targeting kind of the upper back as the area that he's going to roll from. So puts those hands down, his head, lifts the hips, one knee onto the elbow, other knee onto the elbow. He's going to gently kind of push himself forward, tucks the chin, and rolls. So we've established the headstand. We now know how to forward roll, both for as a kind of a gymnastics element and for safety. And when we add the pistol into this, as you roll forward, pick whichever leg you want. As you land on that leg, try to stand up out of that just using your single leg. So elbow, elbow, forward roll, almost gets there, and he can use the hand to press himself out of it. Let's try one more. This time get the feet totally up in the air into that headstand. Knee, knee, one foot slowly overhead, other foot slowly overhead. Let's tuck and roll into that pistol. Ooh, very close. Tricky. Now, let's say you've got an athlete like Kyle who needs a little bit of additional help with that pistol portion. We can simply add a little bit of height. The higher off the ground the athlete is when they make contact with the ground, the easier that pistol or squat is going to be. So if Kyle kind of gets himself set up here, he can do the same thing. Elbow, elbow, legs up tall. Let's see if he can forward roll into that pistol this time. Close. Lots of balance, coordination, accuracy required for this, but we see how this kind of works out. Now, let's imagine that you've had an athlete who the headstand is just not going to happen today. Great. We're going to do the candlestick. So Kyle's actually going to start from a seated position on the mat. Okay? And all he's going to think about doing is kind of balling himself up. He's going to roll back onto his back and then roll forward and see if he can get out of that pistol. Rolls back, foot on the ground, and he stands up right out of that pistol. Okay? So if we don't have the headstand, we can do that. Or if an athlete can headstand, but maybe the forward roll is a little too much, have them headstand, come out of the headstand, and then perform the candlestick pistol. Finally, let's say we don't have the athlete going upside down or a forward roll, and we need even more assistance coming out of that pistol. We have a higher elevated surface where Kyle can just take a seat to. He can do the same thing. He can roll backwards, come forwards, and then stand up on one leg out of that pistol. And let's say you have an athlete who is struggling with just that single leg strength. Kyle can roll backward and just stand up out of the bottom of his air squat. Fantastic. There we have it. We've got a high skill gymnastics complex that involves multiple movements, an athlete getting upside down, an athlete rolling, an athlete standing up out of one leg or off of one leg in a pistol, and all kinds of variations to get your entire class doing all of those things. One way that I like to do this is I might actually teach the class this whole thing backwards. So start with the most simple version. That way you address 100% of your class, and then add a little bit of complexity as you go, and you kind of drop the kids off the bus, so to speak, at their most advanced version of this fun complex.